Before I get started, I want to give a shout out to all of the paying members of my Patreon channel. Your support is necessary, and without you, none of this is possible. Seriously, y'all, I wouldn't be even able to pay for this intro without you. I'd have to sling meat on only excuse me, back to the intro. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, Cash App and PayPal are available. Just be sure to let me know in the for section if it's okay for me to thank you publicly, or else I'll assume you want to remain anonymous. And here we go. Welcome to Layman's Journal Live, a unique show where I, your host, will be giving you honest insights on all trending issues from a traditional male perspective. So give the video a like, leave a comment, share the link on your social media platforms, and let's talk about it. So, let's get it. Already messing up. Hold on, folks. Hold on. Where is it? Which one is it? No, it's not that one. Is it that one? Hold on, folks. I'm playing a little peekaboo, trying to find out which window holds my stream. Uh-oh, it's not that one. No, it's not that one. Well, anyway, I want to thank you for coming to another episode of Layman's Journal Live as I sit here trying to find out which window is the window that I can use for my show. Matter of fact, I'm just going to use this one. Is it the right one? No, it's not. I have to settle for this one. This is not the right window. But what's going on, everybody? Glad to see you here for another episode of Layman's Journal Live on this Friday, what I call You Pick the Topic Friday. And you can come up, you can leave some comments, and I'm going to primarily spend the time in the comments section, listening to what you have to say. Okay? Now, maybe if I close this window and open it back up, that'll work. Cancel. All right, one more time. Let me see here. I'm going to open this window, and then I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go to browser and see if is that it? Is that the one? Let's see. Oh, yes, it is. That's the one. I found it. Okay, so welcome to another episode of Layman's Journal Live. If you don't know, you can catch me streaming on all these fine platforms. I'm on Kick. I'm on YouTube and Rumble. And yes, I am on Twitch streaming live every Friday at 7 a.m. I want to give a shout out. And also, golly, when you do this show weekly, you forget a lot of things that you have to do. Typically, when you do these things all the time, it's muscle memory. I have a Patreon channel, as you can see in the Chiron. Now, for those who don't know, this used to be a channel dedicated completely to entertainment, media, and things like that. But due to copyright restraints, I had to move those discussions over to my Patreon, where there's a $5 paywall for participation. Now you can become but even still, there is stuff on there for free. Well, I do free breakdowns in various second looks and reviews at some of the most popular films. So some of the stuff is free, some of the stuff is paid. Go over there and become a member. I would prefer you become a paid member, but just become a free member as well. I just want you to keep in contact with me in case I get the boot here on YouTube or any of the other fine platforms. I want to give a shout out to my moderators, Dark Room Society. She has a YouTube channel. If it comes up, go over there, subscribe, leave a comment, show your support, and let her know that the Layman's Journal sent you. And if you have anything that you would like to bring up to my attention, you can message me on Facebook. Not Facebook. You can message me on YouTube, which has a message feature. Don't ask me how it works exactly, but it does. And you can link me to a video, or you can reach out to me on X, where I am very, very active. Okay? And so the reason why I'm doing this weekly show, and I guess I'm prepared for this, is YouTube has deprioritized live streaming, primarily because they don't know what we live streamers are going to say. And so they would prefer that you make videos so that they can review and not worry about you doing crazy things. I call it the fresh and fit rule. You know, those morons got on the air and having fights and pulling nugs and men punching women and people kicking in the door. And, you know, the advertisers complained about that. They said, hey, you're running ads with these two goofballs doing wild stuff. We don't feel good about that. So what YouTube has done is they now deprioritize live streams from amateurs like myself or dumbasses like them. And they kind of lean towards more celebrities and corporately backed YouTube personalities, someone who they have a direct relationship with so that they can control and be assured that nothing crazy will come on. So they like, you know, going towards people like Pat McAfee or even Shannon Sharp Live because they know what they're going to get. Okay. But they think people like me are a loose cannon because of, you know, dumb and ass down in Florida. And so they ruin the bag for everybody. They ruin the bag for everybody. And so as a result, I'm going to be doing more videos, but every week I still like doing live streaming. So every week I'll be coming in and just getting in contact with you, talking about what you're talking about, seeing what's going on in your world, what you saw on the news and what you find interesting. Now, this is going to be a show that's going to lean heavily on entertainment media because I love my anime, I love my movies, I love my TV shows, and we can talk about that, anything that you're watching. Well, if I'm watching it too, I'm not going to talk about, you know, One Piece. But we can come and talk, man. You know, this is your show. This is your show. I got some topics, you know, just to keep the flow of the show going, but I'm not married to any of these topics. I'll switch them up quickly if you have something better or more interesting or more fun to talk about. And that's what I want this to be. I want this to be a fun show because I spend so much time on the hard stuff on the news, like this Lindsay Clancy chick, which I'm going to be getting to. I'm going to make a video about her. Because I want this show to be more lighthearted, but I'm going to go in on Lindsay Clancy because I am beyond pissed about that. Listen, I understand people have mental issues and postpartum issues are a thing, and maybe she was over-medicated, but the idea of making this woman a martyr and a hero is going too far. We forget the fact that 3 children lost their lives while you're trying to make this woman a saint. And I don't like that. So anyway, before we get started, we're going to talk about Lanterns Trash Panda. Oh yeah. And if you are in the chat, let me know. Say what's up and I'll shout you out. So what's going on, Malika Me Bane? I saw you come through. Thank you very much for the $5 contribution. For some reason, it's not coming up now. It's on this side, but not this side. But thank you so much, sir. I want to give a shout out to, again, my moderator, Darkroom Society. Thanks for coming through here. Q, does that make sense? What's going on? And Trash Panda. Yes, we're going to talk about lanterns. But I got to clap back at somebody who said something. So, let me pull it up. So a couple of days ago, I made a video about Allison Janney. Okay, she's an actress. She's 66 years old, and she did an interview on Monica Lewinsky's podcast. Okay, and she talked about the regrets that she had. Well, she didn't call them regrets. I call them regrets about growing old and being single and living with dogs. Okay, and she talked about how she did what most feminists tell young women to do. Go out there, get your career, get established in your career, and try to have a family at 35. And she did that. And then she realized in her late 30s that this guy wasn't the guy. So she broke up with him. And she went to a fertility clinic in her 40s, and the doctor wasn't like the advice that you see on social media. The doctor was like, ma'am, the odds of you having a baby are slim and none. And Slim just left the building. It ain't gonna happen for you. You know, and she kind of has some regret over that, over having, you know, wasted her fertile years doing whatever she was doing. Well, I wouldn't say, yeah, I would. Pursuing her career. So that's what the video was about. And I had sympathy for her because she's not a mean woman. She's not a spiteful woman. Her tone was regret. Her tone was remorse. Her tone was, you know, I would have made better decisions had I known that I was going to age out of fertility in my 40s. That was her tone. And so I kind of felt compassion for her because millions upon millions of women have been, you know, sold a lie when it comes to feminism and family and all that stuff. And she bought into it through no fault of her own. They were indoctrinated in it. Okay. So I see her as a victim, you know, and that was what the video was about. It's a very good video. You should check it out. But, I had one lovely lady, one modern woman. I don't know if you can see that completely. She came in my comment section and she got upset. She got upset. She got upset. She got upset. She didn't like your boy coming in and dropping all of these truth nuggets on her. She wasn't ready for it, you know, because I'm assuming she's also like one of these modern women who do whatever. And she said, are you going to talk about the perils of becoming a father past the age of 35? Right off the bat, she's lying. She's lying because she's referring to a study that talks about men trying to be fathers after age 45. But now she says 35. You know, 35 is when geriatric pregnancy begins. Okay, so right off the bat, she's a liar. There is a whole body of research that states that when men are over age 35 of father children, the children have higher chances of health issues and serious genetic defects. 3 to 5% of men over 45 become fathers for the first time. So men have biological clock as well. That's a lie. That's a lie. The study doesn't say that. They talk about the likelihood of them becoming fathers, of sperm not being able to impregnate women. Okay. Let's see here. And I'm gonna explain why this is all wrong. Why not discuss that fact? It's not a fact. It's a lie. And help warn men they need to be married with kids by a certain age or it won't happen for them. Okay, so you see this woman oozes, this individual oozes bitchiology in everything that they said. This is not an honest question. This individual doesn't care about men at all. I'm assuming it's a woman. I hope it's a woman. I would hate to think that a man came in here with these type of talking points. So I pray that this is a woman and not a man. Okay, but this is an individual who doesn't care about men. I made a video, a really good video, a great video, showing compassion for older women. Okay, outstanding video. All right, and she did not like it. Didn't like it. So she came in and made up a fact or brought in some fake news. Not because she cares about men or the family, just because she wants to say something spiteful back. This isn't general concern. This is a lie. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I know about that study she's referring to, and I looked it up, and I thought it was BS. I know it's BS. And I thought about putting this in my video because I had already talked about this, but I'm going to read here something that I wrote, weeks earlier. What's going on, Ziggy? And I said, I want to clear something up. Those headlines that say the quality of men's sperms depreciates with age are not true, are not true, are not true, are not true. The data is based on samples from men visiting fertility clinics and andrology labs for semen analysis. It came from patients. Okay? Already seeking help with fertility issues, not random healthy guys. So they got the samples from people that were sick already. These are people that came in with pre-existing conditions. These are people that came in because something was wrong. All right? The healthy guys didn't show up for this study. The sick ones did. It would be, and I said, it would be akin to going to a hospital and concluding most people are sick because of the people you sampled at the hospital. No, you've gathered data from a place where sick people are gathered. I know a lot of feminists wanted this to be true, needed that to be true so they can argue that men have a fertility windows like women, but it's not. 55, 65 and beyond, we can still make healthy babies. That's the fact of the matter. I looked it up. And like I said, all of the data came from clinics where people are having a hard time conceiving, men and women. And so they took the sample from the men and concluded that the men, and keep in mind, the women are older too, all right? So they already went to places where people are having problems. They didn't go up to men in the general public. Hold on one second. I'm sorry, my earbuds were all twisted up, but they didn't go to the general public and get some samples and try to compare and contrast, the thousands of samples, blind test samples. They went to people who were already having reproductive issues and polled them. That's what they did. Shout out to Zabar Cole. Thank you so much for the contribution, sir. Let me screenshot you really quickly. And one more. Thank you again, Malika Me Bane, for the contribution. But yeah, that's where they went. All right. And so that's why the data is not reliable. I mean, let's go back. We talk about men's issues a lot. Imagine if somebody went to a prison, okay, and concluded because that all black men were violent criminals because the violent criminals they interviewed in prison were mostly black men. Well, no, you went to prison. No, it's not accurate data. And that's what they're pushing. And see, this is another thing. And even anecdotally, even if you don't have to aggregate that data and dig into the data, even anecdotally, we know that's not true. Because throughout history, it's been older men that have been fathering children. A lot of times. Well, in this modern history, all throughout the world, in America, we kind of think it's icky, but all throughout the world, it's the older men that get the women. Traditionally speaking, the older, more established man in the village gets the women because he has more resources. But a great example would be this here. Who remembers the movie Set It Off? My man Nate. And by the way, it's August, so it's Nate season already. We're in Nate season. Nate season is twice a year. It's at the beginning of the school year, and it's during Christmas time. But you remember Nate from the movie Set It Off. You had Stoney that needed to get some, what did she need? She needed some money so that she could send her brother to school. And she didn't want to work. She didn't remember because Nate offered her. That's what people talk about. People think that Nate was a villain. Nate was not a villain, okay? Nate offered Stoney a job. I think the base pay was like $40,000 plus commissions. Okay? Nate offered her a job. All right? But Stoney didn't want a job. She didn't want a job. She just wanted the money. So Nate didn't come to Stoney saying, hey, I want some of that. I want some of that booty. I want some of that cooch. He said, no. How about you come and work an honest job? And she said, no, I need this money up front. And Nate was like, no, I'm not just going to give you some money. And he tried to drive off, but then she said, Nate, I really need this money. I really need this money. So she pressed Nate for the money, and she was the one who was offering up the goods. Okay? So this wasn't Nate being sleazy. This was Nate accepting an offer from Stoney because she was in a bind and couldn't wait. She didn't want to wait 3 months or 6 months or however long to earn a decent income. Heck, her brother could have worked there with her. She wasn't looking for no job. She wanted the easy money. She chose to give it up. Okay? But the reason why I'm bringing up Nate, what's going on, Patrick Saint? The reason why I'm bringing up Nate is because we all know Nate from the neighborhood. There are dozens of Nates. If you grew up in the hood, you knew there were dozens of Nates, right? Right? We all knew a Nate or 4 or 5 Nates. And Nate was that guy who went to war. Maybe he went to the Vietnam War. Maybe he went to World War II or the Korean War. He spent 20 years in the military. He got out and he got that factory job where he worked for 20 years. So he's been working for 40 years, and Nate is usually in his late 50s, early 60s, and he's got that military pension. He's got that factory pension. He's a grown man. He might have been married, but his kids are old and grown, and he's typically single, okay? Or maybe he has an old wife. But Nate got 2 pensions. He got that military pension, and he got that factory work pension. I've seen, look, I live in Detroit. I know a lot of Nates like this. But he's got 40 years of work. He's got 2 pensions, one coming from the military, one coming from the factory. He's paid all of his bills. His house is paid off. And he's just sitting on all this money. He's got all this money coming in. And then you see these young girls coming up. They babies need school supplies. You know, they want to play football and they need some of that deposit so they can get a jersey and a helmet and some cleats and a mouthpiece. Or Christmas is coming around and they want to get their baby some toys. Or maybe they're a little behind on the rent. Or they behind on their car payments. And they come to Nate. And Nate is a man in his late 50s, mid 60s, and he's got all this cash, all this pension and retirement money. And so what happens? These young girls proposition Nate. And Nate be like, look, young lady, you know, let me put a few dollars on you. You just kind of be nice to me. We've all seen that dynamic in the hood. We've all seen it. And what typically happens? It's usually young baby mamas that come to Nate. And what happens? Nate gets the booty. Nate gets the booty, right? And what always happens? Well, it happens a lot. Nate ends up being an old baby daddy. Nate ends up being an old baby daddy. You know, he goes and makes another baby with these young things. Happens all the time. There was a family member, and there's a member in my family. This man died at 92, 95 years old. I forget. He was in his late 90s, mid to late 90s. All of his kids are in their 70s. Okay. He died in his late 90s. All of his kids are in his 70s. At his funeral, he had some kids, plural, there in their 20s. The man was in his 90s. The kids he had with his wife were in their 70s. But he had some kids there that were in their 20s at his funeral. What's that mean? He was out there making babies in his 70s. You know, people hear these stories all the time, and you talk about these young men in the hood, and they talk about how they never knew their fathers, and they say, oh, my father's dead. I never knew my dad. He died before I was born. And we just assume it's gang violence. No. A lot of times their fathers die from natural causes. The boys don't know. The girls don't know because oftentimes their fathers were 70 when they were born or 65 when they were born. They don't tell you that part. I've seen it. One of my neighbors, he was 85 and he had a son who was 17 that lived across the street. This happens a lot. And the reason you don't hear much about it is because the women are typically embarrassed. They're embarrassed. They're 23 years old with a baby daddy who's 68. Their baby got siblings who are 40 and 50 years old. They are ashamed of it, so they lie. I don't know who the daddy. Everybody know who the daddy is. It's Nate. Everybody know you did some strange with that old man across the street, and you got his baby. Happens all the time in the hood. So even anecdotally, we know this is not true. That men have a hard time conceiving. I'm a product. You know, my father was 58 when he shot up, you know, when he conceived me. No, he was 58 when I was born. I was 57 when I was conceived. He was 57. All right. This happens a lot. A lot. I'm a product of it. I've seen it in the hood. We saw it's so common. We saw it in the movie Set It Off. So this whole idea that older men can't make healthy babies, BS. BS. We all grew up seeing it. We all grew up seeing it. You know, my great-grandfather was in his 50s when he conceived my grandmother. My great-grandfather was born a slave. Born a slave. But he was still making babies in the 1890s. He was born like 1848, 1851. So he was a teenager, almost an adult when the Civil War ended. And so he was, even though he was born in like 1848, he was still making babies in the 1890s. Shout out to Silas, my great grandfather, South Carolina. Born a slave, died a free man. Hashtag FBA. But yeah. I'm just being silly. But seriously though. So this is why it's a lie. What she's talking about is a lie. Like I said, I broke it down. And see the study, when you read these articles, they do point that out in the article, but people don't read the article. They just go with the headline and just say, oh, I got something to say to these men that say we too old to have babies. Let me run with this. And they don't read the article, or they don't look at the methodology of the study in which the data was gathered. They always just want to run with it. Yeah. What's going on? We're going to talk about that. Let's see here. What's good? No new podcast. Nice to see you here. Ziggy, what's up? Let's see here. Lindsay Clancy. Yeah, how white privilege go. I'm going to make a video about that. I thought I was going to bring it up this morning. I said, no, I want this to be kind of an upbeat, happy environment. I'm going to make a video about Lindsay Clancy, more or less the reactions to it. Yeah, Hit Dog was hollering. Let's see here. Yes, did I get your gift, Sabar? Yes, I did. Okay, that's good, Ziggy. Who else we got in here? Let me see. Get to the comments. Our bodies do not have physical changes to make baby like women do. Men issues has to do with motility. Exactly. Bitter, lonely feminists and annoying hyenas don't want to hear or believe facts. They only care about emotional debates and revisionist history. Absolutely. Can I zoom out? Oh, I can't see when I zoom out. My eyes ain't that great. Our poll is still good when we get older, if we don't get a vasectomy. Exactly. Good old Mr. Nate season. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to send her to college. Yeah. Three of my sisters were stoned. Exactly. We all know women that got old baby daddies. A lot of them got old baby daddies. And we talk about some men can't make babies. Go check the hood. Go see how many kids Nate got. No. You know what? I wish, when I was young, I wanted to be a Nate. I wanted to be that guy with 40 years of work and 2 pensions coming in. You knew how to negotiate. Yeah. That's the 1996 Gucci rate. Yeah, worked for the power. Yep. Yeah, he either worked for the power company. In my town, he worked for Ford. He came out of the Korean War, got a job with Ford, or he came out of the Vietnam War and got a job at the Ford factory. And put in 20 years. Yeah. And Nate was often the landlord, He was a landlord because he had some money, and some of the tenants get behind in the rent. I can tell you some stories. My father owned an apartment complex, and I'm gonna stop telling on myself, but there was some fine chicks in that apartment complex, and if I was not ethical, I'm telling too much about business, man. I'm telling too much about business. Anyway, my son's ex was a Nate baby. Exactly. Nate be making him do something strange. Yeah. Art imitating life. My granddad was a Silas from South Carolina. Oh, okay. Wow, okay. I guess that's a popular name in South Carolina. Yeah. So, I had to get that viewer response. What are we going to talk about? Oh, yeah, the lanterns. We don't get to that. But I saw some... Hold on. What you say there? Let's see here. I'm trying to... They offered. But, it was my daddy's business, so I couldn't be playing around in that. But, they were fine. Anyway, I'm trying to make my own literature fiction. My protagonist is of Black descent. What should be the love interest be for the protagonist that will piss off the gynocracy? I'm not trolling, serious. What should be the the easiest answer would be, a non-Black woman, but it's not about color. If you really want to piss off the gynocracy, make it a submissive woman. Make it a woman that ignores the conventional wisdom of the hyenas around him. Make it a woman who's a ride or die. Make it a woman who supports the man. Make her a traditional woman. That'll piss them off. And you know what? If she's a submissive traditional woman and she's Black, that will make them even more angry. Even more angry. Who was this in the news recently? It's somebody in the news recently that all the women are mad at. God, you know what I'm talking about? I think she's Black. I forget. It's a Black woman in the news recently. She's a celebrity. Oh, Clarissa. People are mad at Clarissa Shields, but they're loving. Who else is it? Someone said Clarissa Shields and somebody else. I think it's Portia or whatever. I forget the company. I saw the meme. I forgot. But no, make her a supportive, submissive woman. It don't matter what race she is. If you make her a traditional Black woman, it'll make them mad. A Black woman with traditional values. That'll make them upset. Because they hate when the coven hates to see them leave the sisterhood. Yeah. That'll make them upset. Yeah. Oh, yes. Definitely make her a virgin. Oh, and let it be age gap. Let him be about 45, 46, and let her be about 20, 22 years old.
or 23 years old. That'll make them real angry. If there's an age gap and she's a virgin, yeah. And it doesn't matter what her ethnicity is. As a matter of fact, if it's an age gap relationship and she's a virgin in her 20s and he's in his 40s, that'll really make them angry. Yes, that'll set them off. I'd make it like Tyler Perry movie Acrimony, when the man comes up and he leaves for a non-black woman. You know what? I gotta look at Acrimony. I'm gonna look at Acrimony this weekend. I'm gonna look at. I've heard. You know what? Because I'm just about finished with the other Tyler Perry movie I'm doing. Acrimony is gonna be next when I finish this current one. Yeah. That'll set them all off. If you make her a fit, feminine, submissive woman in her 20s, dating a man in her 40s, and she's black, that'll really anger them. And a virgin, that'll really anger them. Okay. Let's talk about lanterns. I liked the lanterns. I liked lanterns. Typically, I don't get into, because I kind of got tired of the whole, comic book thing. No, I take it back. I do like comic book movies. I just kind of got, some fatigue. I got, DC Marvel fatigue. I do like them, but I don't like the way DC and Marvel do them. Okay. And so I saw Lanterns, and it was entertaining. It was entertaining. I can definitely tell there's some messaging there about illegal immigration. And you got two boss girls, two boss ladies in the show, and you can tell there's going to be some white tea supremacy because one of the characters, the potential antagonist, is one of those survivalist types, and he's got a ranch with men doing target practice. You can kind of see where they're going with that. And it kind of made it worse because he piped down his wife. He piped her down. So it was like, okay, I can see the tension going here. You got this suspected white tea supremacist who has a lot of money, who's on this ranch where men are doing target practice, and you gave her, you gave his wife the soul pole. It's going to be some tension there. And he says things like, we want to make sure there's no aliens. What was it going to make sure of? That we only live on Earth. So you see the kind of undertones of illegal immigration being pushed. Yeah, they got it's some stuff. Oh no. Okay, no, I didn't delete it. Okay, cool. All right, yeah. I can see where they're going there with the commentary. Yeah, wigs will be smoking across the nation. Oh, and make sure she has natural hair. She doesn't wear a wig or extensions or anything. Make sure she has natural hair, blood boiling. So she's a fit, feminine, submissive girl in her 20s who's an adult virgin, black woman and an adult virgin who's dating a man who's older. That'll make him angry. But yeah, tell us who to love. Let's see. Yeah, Marvel kind of messed things up to being with exactly. But they did. And so it's kind of like a mystery type thing. I think it's pretty cool. Aaron Pierre, so far in the first episode, he kind of is just there. He doesn't really say nothing. He just mainly broods. I don't think he said 100 words in that first episode. I don't think he said 100 words. So, and it's like they killed off, I forget the guy's name. I get them all mixed up. Stewart, Jordan, and the other one. But they killed off the older Lantern. Okay, so he had all the charisma and personality. I kind of liked him. He was funny. But I guess they're going to have him come back in a hologram because he's supposed to upload his essence or likeness into the ring. So maybe we'll see him in that capacity. But he had all the charisma. I liked him, and Aaron Pierre plays him so stoic, he comes across as wooden. So, the first episode was really good. It was really, really good. I enjoyed it. I hope it'll be good. I didn't, because I enjoyed Penguin the first few episodes, then I kind of zoned out. I kind of lost interest. But I hope this one can keep the momentum going. It did pretty well the first episode. I think it got 18 million streams. Yeah. And I know, he is a super serious character, and I get that. And that's something you can play well in the books. That's something you can play in a comic. But when you're filming something, it doesn't play well on screen all the time. Unless you surround that character with talkative characters. Like, for example, what's his face? I forget the actor's name who played in The Batman. But the Batman, what's his name? The guy who played him, I forget his name. Someone put the actor's name in the chat. But in The Batman, the actor played him really stoic. I don't think he said 100 words in that whole movie. There was some narration in the beginning, and that was it. He barely talked. But the people around him were so active verbally that it compensated for his stoicism. And so when you have a super serious character like that, it can be problematic. When Robert Pattinson, right? When you have a super serious character like that doesn't really talk, it doesn't typically translate well onto the screen because the audience is then just watching a guy walking through rooms and just doing stuff, and there are no words. That's not good. Another example would be if you saw the movie Ryan Gosling named Drive. If you saw that movie, let me see here. Ryan Gosling's character in the movie Drive was similar. Silent, stoic type that didn't really say anything. Which is a good movie, by the way. I highly recommend this movie, Drive. This movie is outstanding. But he was another character that barely talked. I doubt if he even said 1,000 words. This was him the whole movie right here. This whole scene, this was him basically just watching people talk when he had interactions. He was all about violence. This was a man of extreme violence, so he didn't say too much. But if you have quiet characters like him or the way Aaron P. plays Jon Stewart, you have to surround him with talkers. And so what I think they're going to do is they've killed this character off, but his essence can still survive in the ring. And if you bring him back as a hologram that he can bounce off of, it can work. Because Aaron Pierre's Jon Stewart does not have enough personality to carry the show. But like I said, you can work. It worked in Drive, and it worked in The Batman. You gotta have some characters he can talk to. Because you saw here, like Catwoman was very talkative, and so was Commissioner Gordon. It made up for the fact that he didn't talk. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm a few steps too late. Yeah, I saw the few clips. Yeah, I got HBO Max had a special. I typically don't buy that kind of stuff, but HBO Max had a special around Christmas time where you could get it for $3 a month. That's why I got it. So, $36 for the year. Yeah, I'll take HBO Max for that price. Now, when Thanksgiving comes back around, because it's going to be a year by then, I'm canceling that membership. I'm not paying whatever price it is for HBO Max. HBO Max to me is about worth $3 a month. Let's see here. Oh boy, hopefully the stoic persona is a bit of an Aaron's character. Yeah, I don't know. But you know what? Have we ever seen Aaron Pierre in a chatty role or talkative role like that? I haven't seen too much of him, but he's always been like a quiet actor to me. But I'll watch the second episode. Actually, I'm looking forward to the second episode. I thought it was good, but you know what? That political undertones about the immigration, that bothers me. If they go down that road with the not so subtle metaphors, I'm not going to watch. I just can't. I cannot. I do not want to be preached to at all. I think Hal Jordan reveal is a roped up setup, probably because I think that the show starts. It takes place in 2016, then it goes to 2026, and we know that Superman took place in. Did it take place in 2025? I know it came out in 2025, but did it take place in 2025? And there could only be one lantern on Earth. So they're going to have to reconcile that somehow. Or maybe have a different universe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But how did you all think? Did you all see the lanterns? Did you like it? What'd you all think about it? I know the anti-DEI guys don't seem to like it. I saw Critical Drinker say some negative things about it. Of course, Nerdrotic hated it. You know. Like I said, you know, I'm going to give it a chance, but if it gets preachy, I'm bailing. I don't want to hear about, you know, metaphors for why we should have amnesty. Or they pull some kind of thing where the alien invaders are really good people and we have to really fight against the militiamen who want them booted from the planet. If they're going to go that route, I'm not going to watch it. Yeah, the first episode was cool. It was cool. I didn't hate it. You know, it was enough for me to come back. I'm very, very interested. I didn't see the trailers for the second episode, but they are hating hard off the one episode. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Matter of fact, let's look at one of them. Let's see.
Remember that Simpson?
Let's look at the Critical Drinker. Now, of all the anti-DEI critics on YouTube, I can tolerate him the most because he's more honest. He's not as grifty as the other guys. And like I said, he had stones to come out there and, you know, and praised sinners. So let's see what he has to say. So he's more honest than the rest of them. I'm interested in what he has to say, though.
Episode where they go on a tour of the Duff Brewery and you find out that every flavour is just the same crap piped into different containers. Well, that's basically James Gunn's DCU at this point. No matter what movie or show you find yourself watching, it's all just slightly different flavours of the same cynical, wannabe, edgy, unfunny, deconstructionist James Gunn slop. In this case, seasoned with a little bit of Damon Lindelof's mildly retarded answer to True Detective, but with all of the intelligence and creativity replaced by his thinly disguised race-baiting political fetishes to produce Green Lanterns.
And that's the thing. You picked up on the political metaphors immediately. Like I said, I don't have a problem with metaphors and messaging being in film because metaphors and messaging has always been in Hollywood films. It's a staple. You know, all artists, you know, that's another thing. Artists tend to be preachy when it comes to their messages. They just hide it within their art. And that's the way it's always been. It's just that within the past 10 to 15 years, going back to when, who was the old girl at Lucasfilms? Kathleen Kennedy going around talking about the force is female. The messaging went from being subtle and in the background and a metaphor to being in your face and preaching to you about it. If they keep the messaging subtle, I can deal with it. But if it gets overbearing, I'm not going to watch it. And that's where it's been recently, the past 10 to 15 years. There's no more subtlety when it comes to messaging. And they get into the process of berating the audience. And I hate that.
Sorry, it's just lanterns now, because green isn't cool enough for a show about intergalactic space cops with magical rings that allow them to manifest anything they can imagine, I guess. Ugh. I'm so tired, man. Watching a DC project at this point is a bit like spinning a wheel of fortune to decide the method of your own demise. You know, it's ultimately...
And to me, it's like a job. I'll be honest with you. Now, I enjoyed the first episode, but the only reason I watched is because I knew I had to talk about it today. If I did not have to talk about the show, I wouldn't have watched it. But I did, and I did enjoy the first episode.
They're going to be messy and unpleasant, it's just a question of degrees. And having slogged through all 57 minutes of the pilot episode, I can confidently tell you this show is an absolute chore, combining the worst aspects of modern Hollywood character assassination with a tediously slow plot that takes forever to get moving, and dialogue that literally spells out every single thing that just happened,
No, I disagree with that. It was entertaining, but we live in this TikTok culture, this ADD culture, this microwave culture, that people don't like build-up anymore. I don't know if it's TikTok. I don't know if it's ADHD is taking off, or if it's those damn Fast and the Furious movies. But what was it? Who was it? Matt Damon talked about how when he was making a movie for Netflix and the executives came and said, hey, could you put an action scene in the first couple minutes? Yeah, could you where is it? Could you repeat the plot a whole bunch of times? Because audiences are not going to pay attention.
Netflix movies are made for people with short attention.
Yeah, I'm gonna get off topic and talk about this. Yeah, this is not a serious show today. I'm gonna actually jump to another video because I want to hammer home this point. But Matt Damon's talked about this.
Netflix movies are made for people with short attention span. The TikTok generation. That's basically what Matt Damon has come out and confirmed. I mean, we kind of knew this anyway, didn't we? We knew that this was a thing that was happening. Yeah, especially on Netflix, I feel. Now,
let's see if we get to it.
Quotes from the Joe Rogan Experience interview with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. So as it says, for years now, audiences have sensed something was off about Netflix's original movies. They look expensive, they feature major stars, and yet many of them feel strangely hollow, over-explained, oddly paced. And forgettable almost the moment the credits roll. Now, thanks to Matt Damon, we finally have confirmation of what's driving that creative shift in Netflix movies. So appearing alongside Ben Affleck on the Joe Rogan Experience, Damon offered a remarkably candid explanation for how Netflix approaches movie production in the streaming era, and why so many Netflix films feel like they're talking at the audience.
Here it is. Here's the actual thing. Where's the audio? It always confuses me on TikTok. Here we go.
You're watching in a room, the lights are on, other shit's going on, the kids are running around, the dogs are running around, whatever it is. You know what I mean? It's just a very different level of attention that you're willing to, or that you're able to give to it. And that has a big effect. And it also ends up having an effect, or is starting to have an effect on how you make movies. Like, for instance, Netflix, the standard way to make an action movie that we learned was, you usually have like 3 set pieces, one in the first act, one in the second, one in the third, and they kind of ramp up, and the big one with all the explosions, and you spend most of your money on that one in the third act. That's your kind of finale. And now they're like, can we get a big one in the first 5 minutes to get somebody? We want people to stay tuned in, and it wouldn't be terrible if you reiterated the plot 3 or 4 times in the dialogue, because people are on their phones while they're watching, you know what I mean?
Oh, no.
And so then it's going to really start to infringe on
creatively.
how we're telling the
but
story.
then I always feel like complaining about it makes me feel like one of these guys who's like, when I was a boy, like you always want to freeze the culture at the time when you, I don't know, felt more like, we didn't used to have these phones. The fuck are all these phones? And everybody's looking at their phone. I get it. Yes, it's true. Also, it's like supply and demand. People want to look at their phone.
Yeah.
They can look at TikTok. They want, they're going to do that. I think what you can do is make shit the best you can. Make it really good. And, people can still go to the movies. It's not like, I think we have this idea that's like an existential threat. Everything that comes along is going to destroy everything. Instead,
And see, that's the thing about movies. The reason why you walk into a movie theater and they turn the lights down and they make the movie loud is because that's a cue for you to shut up and pay attention. Because if movie theaters were in well-lit rooms and the screen wasn't really loud, people would become distracted. But because the screen is so big, the room is so dark, and the movie is so loud, you can't help but to pay attention. But now, because we have streaming and we can watch movies at home, we have all these distractions. You have the kids, you have the dog, you have your cell phone, you have TikTok, and it's easy to just kind of zone out and not pay attention. And as a result, what Ben and Matt are talking about is it's hard to make a movie because you're dealing with an audience that can't pay attention. They just can't pay attention anymore. And I kind of feel what they're saying because I see all these people that have all this criticism for House of the Dragon. Well, it's all this talking. They're not doing anything. Where's the war? I'm like, you've been watching too many. I can tell you got a TikTok brain. Or better yet, they ask questions that happen in the show that they don't get. It's like, were you watching the show when you asked that question? Okay, and that's what we have. And so when you have shows like House of the Dragon, which is a focus on dialogue and slow boiling plots with a big payoff, that doesn't work today. Because people are so focused on get to the action. And that's stupid. Because if you don't spend the time developing the characters, if you don't spend the time slowly revealing the plot, because that's another thing he talks about, how they have to constantly repeat the plot point. That's a terrible movie. I hate when movies tell you instead of showing you. No, when you have to tell the audience something, that's symptomatic of a bad film. The audience should be able to look at it and understand what's going on. You shouldn't have all these exposition dumps to explain it to you. It should be able to be revealed in the natural flow of the film. But what Netflix is saying, no, you've got to tell the audience. You can't show them because they're looking at their phones. And you have to tell them 3 or 4 times. And that's why the critics are saying the Netflix movies come across as hollow, as flat. And they are. I don't like any Netflix movies at all because they're not serious. And it feels like they were made for people with ADHD. And Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are confirming it. They said the executives came to them and said, hey, we need you to make the movie this way, because people aren't paying attention. And it feels like that. It comes across like that. And so when I hear people say, oh, the Lanterns was boring because nothing goes, buddy, you have to develop the characters. You have to develop the world. You can't just go, boom, movie. That's not how it works. You have to be bored, because here's the thing. If you don't set up the characters and their personalities, why would you care when they die? I tell the example in Superman 2025 versus the death of Ned Stark. Ned Stark's death was gut-wrenching, heartbreaking, because they developed this character that you fell in love with. But then you go and look at Superman when the newsstand guy dies, when Lex Luthor, executes him, and you feel nothing for it because the guy had like 5 words. He was a stranger. And so if you really you're not going to have the audience care about what happens to the characters if they're in danger, if you don't spend time developing them. That's why I think this is a stupid criticism. I didn't see this as being boring. I saw that, all the time that was done with dialogue was setting up the chemistry between John and Hal or whatever. I think I forget their names. But you gotta have that stuff in there.
Graphs what's about to happen so the audience is usually 10 minutes ahead of the writers, and lays out his political allegories for modern day American immigration and race issues with all the subtlety of a thermobaric weapon.
Let's get this over quickly.
Consider it done, Simon Phoenix. The show picks up in 1996 with a young Jon Stewart. No, not that one. Watching Hal Jordan being interviewed on TV about how he became the Green Lantern until his dad shows up and shoots at him to see if he...
That shit was crazy to me. What the hell was that scene about? I'm like, what the hell was that scene about? And I got, that really pissed me off because we know how the media makes it seem like black fathers are absentee, or they try to push this notion that children are not safe around men. So we gotta have the default position to have children in the custody of their mothers. And in the opening scene, you have this shit. And I'm like, what the hell? I'll play
scared
it.
or not.
Are you afraid?
No, sir.
That's insane. That's insane. You have a father use his son for target practice. And in the way they played it off like it was just cool. Yeah, that's good, son. What the hell is that? I mean, they want to say, well, the thinking is, well, we put that in there to show that he's fearless. Okay, there are other ways to show that he's fearless. Rather than having his father use him as target practice in the dark. I hated that scene. It was stupid. And just damn right offensive to me. That was fucked up.
Funny story, I actually tried that once with a crossbow, but it didn't work out quite so well. Wait, we should probably edit that out later. Anyway, flash forward 20 years or so, and John's now being trained by Hal as a kind of backup lantern just in case anything happens to him. Oh yeah, and Hal's a drunk middle-aged loser now who doesn't actually teach him anything useful because the rules of modern writing dictate that any man over the age of 50 has to be a drunk, disheveled loser. My god, it's just so creative, I can't get over it. Anyway, when a mass shooting happens at a football game in small-town Nebraska, the boys are deployed to find out what happened. That's when they run into annoying girl boss number 1, who seems to exist purely to shit-talk Hal and delay his investigation for as long as possible to stretch the 20 minutes of actual plot into a 60-minute episodes. But despite...
No, again, you gotta develop the characters, you gotta have dialogue, you have to have conversations, that's necessary. Yes, she is a girl boss, but you still have to get a profile of the characters. So you have to have these exchanges.
her best efforts, Hal uncovers the shooter and he suspects that he's an alien in disguise, but annoying girl boss number 1 won't let him interrogate the guy, even when he gets himself arrested to be sent to the same jail as him. I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm no expert on the Green Lantern powers or anything, but couldn't Hal just force his way into the prison if it's that urgent? It's not like a small town sheriff is gonna be able to stop him no matter how much of a girl boss she is. Ah, what fucking ever. So the two lads eventually get summoned to evil redneck man's house. I know he's evil because he's a white man who lives on a ranch and immediately starts talking about wanting to protect the planet from anyone who was.
Oh, and he eats meat. He eats meat. That's another trope. Oh, he's not a vegan? Oh, and Jon Stewart is a vegan. So you know that makes him the good guy. He loves animals. He doesn't eat them.
Wasn't born there.
How about we both want to protect the planet from anybody not born on it?
Are you getting the subtle messaging yet, dear viewer? Anyway, evil redneck man pulls some strings to get Hal to interrogate the shooter, which is something that should have happened like 20 minutes ago, but fuck it, we need to make this episode an hour long somehow. And even though annoying girl boss number 1 is absolutely convinced that he's barking up the wrong tree, Hal's actually proven right and the man really is an alien pretending to be human. Then he blows himself up, but Hal saves the day with his ring powers and she's still pissed at him somehow. Seriously, fuck off. Flash forward another 10 years and John returns to the place where it all happened, reunites with annoying girl boss number 1 who somehow hasn't aged a day in 10 years, and together they find Hal's frozen body at the football stadium, having completed his middle-aged white man character arc by dying.
Now, I don't really think he's dead. Like I said, he can upload his essence into the ring, and so that's probably how we're going to experience him throughout the series or show.
And stepping aside to make way for someone more diverse. Now, what can I say about this show except I can't think of many projects where the influence.
And there's the subtle politicism right there. He's a black man walking down the street.
What can I say about this
guys pointing at him, so you know this is going to be a showdown or whatever. Who knows?
Show except I can't think of many projects where the influences and intentions of the writers are more glaringly obvious than Lanterns. Instead of making a show about intergalactic space cops going on cosmic adventures and battling all manners of weird.
Exactly. I think an evil redneck would have attempted to delete John after finding out he screwed his wife. Exactly. I don't know what it is. Maybe they have some type of agreement, or maybe that's part of the plot. But that was like, he's awful calm for a man that found out you did his wife. Especially if you're a black man, that's a real offense. I don't know what. Maybe there's something about the plot we're not knowing that they put that in there. They haven't revealed yet, rather.
And wonderful alien threats, they instead decided to make a Temu version of True Detective, complete with bleak, cynical, and mostly unlikable characters who constantly have to swear to prove just how edgy they are, patched together with all the tedious tropes of modern Hollywood writing, and the usual laundry list of safe, predictable political targets like Republicans, small-town America, and immigration policy. And holy fuckballs, is it tedious. It's nothing but a standard police procedural with some vague superhero elements mixed in, made by people with no understanding of police procedures and no affection for superheroes. Not only is it crushingly slow and dull, stretching out the runtime with pointless side quests and putting characters into holding patterns while the plot catches up with them, but it also literally spells out everything that's happening just in case you weren't paying attention, which to be fair you probably weren't. Like at one point when John goes to a barbecue at evil redneck guy's house, only to discover the old lady that he fucked in a parking lot the night before, oh yeah, that's the thing which happens, is the guy's wife, and the dude says this to him as he leaves.
Nothing better than eating off another man's grill.
I don't understand how that was a metaphor for sleeping with my wife, but okay.
I mean, okay, it's a bit cringy, but at least it gives you a bit of a hint about how much the man really knows. Then fucking Hal has to immediately jump in with this absolute clanger.
I definitely slept with his wife.
And he knows?
Apparently.
I mean, it's like the writers have never even heard of the idea of subtext. Honestly, Damon Lindelof should have been banned from ever writing anything again ever after the absolute embarrassment of Watchmen, but somehow this
Oh. Watchmen? Yeah, that's a red flag. If you saw that Regina King series, Watchmen, yeah. Oh yeah, for those who don't know, Watchmen featured a black man cheating on his pregnant wife with a white tea supremacist cop. A black man married to a black woman who was cheating on her with a white male cop who was a white tea supremacist. Yeah. He was down low. The black man was gay, and he was cheating on his black pregnant wife with a white tea supremacist. That was in The Watchmen, and this asshat wrote it. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Watchmen was a terrible series, and yeah, I don't have. This is the indicator that the show is going to get worse.
Bald, pretentious retard just keeps failing upwards in Hollywoods. Let that be a lesson to you, kids. It's not what you know or even who you know, it's what you say that matters in that industry. In terms of character work, pretty much everyone except Hal is an unlikable arsehole in this show, and most of that comes down to Kyle Chandler doing his best with some pretty shocking material. Aaron Pierre, on the other hand, is an absolute block of wood, with all the personality and charisma of a love child between Sam Worthington and Sophie Turner. Jesus, how is this guy supposed to carry the entire show? I was bored of him after like one.
He's not going to carry the show. He's still going to be existing through the ring. He has to. Because like we were talking about, he doesn't have enough personality. So he's got to exist, at least in the hologram, to keep him entertaining. Because him alone being on camera, oh no. God, no.
Episodes. Ultimately, Lanterns is pretty much exactly what I expected when you take the political obsessions of Damon Lindelof and try to plant them in the creative wasteland of James Gunn's DCU by James Gunn. It's a show that combines the worst of every world, and I don't imagine I'm going to be wasting much more time on it. Not when there's much better things I could be doing. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Yeah. Let's see here. What's going on, rude boy? I think that's how I say it right. I think I said it correctly. What's going on, Simeon? Exactly. Young people don't read novels anymore, and they don't get accustomed to slow building characters and scenes. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, we all watch TikTok dances instead of reading books. People don't understand slow. They call it boring. No, buddy, that's called building the plot. You got ADHD, sir. They certainly use the data to cater to the average attention span of viewers. Yeah. And you know what? This is going to drive me to start reading books because I don't like that kind of low attention span programming. Like I hate the Fast and the Furious films. I can't get into that. Okay. Spoilers. Atlantis don't want to see it. That's deeper than that. I know we're going to, yep. I have a feeling that they will. And I don't even read the comics, but I just don't trust Netflix with not Netflix. HBO Max with anything. Yeah. What's up, Black Squad TV? More importantly, how can the ring, which is sentient, be okay with wearing? He was wearing it when he was, that's right, he was. But I didn't know the ring was sentient like that. I enjoyed, I know I'm Wild Tight, and I have theories about what's going on. Okay. What's going on, D-Name and Handle? Yeah, Watchmen was terrible. Please don't. Oh, God. Now, they're talking about Watchmen the series or Watchmen the show. I forget which one. I'm thinking about the series. The series was terrible. Also, Aaron Priyal is not a vegan in real life. To my knowledge, you don't develop that kind of physique and body. No, you don't. Animal flesh is the only complete protein. The other proteins that people have in vegetables, people say all the time, well, how come a horse is so big? It's a vegan. How come gorillas are so strong? That's because of genetics. Humans do not have the enzymes to extract all the proteins necessary to build muscle through plants. Our stomachs simply don't make it, so we can only get it from animal flesh. That's just how our stomachs work. I'd rather read books too nowadays, but even today's books are more woke than the shows. Yeah, what's up, the PS Freak? That's true. I started reading Marvel comics back in, I want to say 2009, and I noticed with Michael Bendis, I started reading Ultimate Marvel. It was terrible. People think that the MCU Phase 4 was bad. 2009, Ultimate Marvel was 1,000 times worse. You want to talk about some what they call woke or DEI? It is a billion times worse in the comics. A billion times worse. What you saw Marvel do with Phase 4 is a very, very muted down version of what was going on with Michael Bendis in the comics. It was terrible. Terrible in the comics. But you say books are like that too? I'm starting to believe it. Which is why I watch anime as much as I do. I'd rather watch DC animated movies. Can't wait for the back. Yeah. DC animated movies are really good. Nope, it's not. I bet women he smashed it. Yeah. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on the Lanterns. I'll watch the second one. But I want to get to this real quick. So I saw this preview of this movie called The Secret Between Us. And it was all over my Facebook timeline, man. And I'm like, what is this? And I checked it out. And let me show a preview. Okay, let's see if I can get this going. Here we go.
Why are you in my house?
You really don't know who I am?
No, I don't.
This is crazy. It was a mistake to come here.
Wait. Are you? Wait.
I just wanted to lay eyes on the man my mother says is my father. The man who broke my mother's heart. Did you know about me? Did you? On her deathbed 10 years ago, she said you didn't know. But I think you did know. Deep down inside where it's just you, your conscience, and the truth. You knew.
Yeah. So I saw this movie and I'm just going to say it. It's very low budget. The screenwriting is terrible. The acting is mediocre at best. The directing is laughable. But damn it, I liked it. It's as ghetto as it wants to be. But damn it, I liked it. It was good. It was a good story. Terribly executed, but it was a really good story. You know, it's a tearjerker. It'll hit you in the feels. But yeah, it's about a man with a son that comes back from the past to meet his father. The casting here is kind of terrible. I mean, this guy is supposed to be Michael Jai White's son. He's supposed to be 28. This dude looks about 42, 45. But he's supposed to be a 28-year-old man. But other than that, it's actually a really good movie. Like I said, it's poorly done. You know, the acting and screenwriting wasn't there. And I give it grace. As Ziggy said, what do you expect from Angel? Yeah, Angel Studios don't have a lot of money. Okay, they're not Warner Brothers, they're not Netflix, they're not Amazon, they're not Disney. They don't have hundreds of millions of dollars to pay. I mean, their budget they're actually probably Tyler Perry has more money than Angel Studios at this point. Tyler Perry movies have more funding. And so they're all very shoestring movies. I'm looking at this film. It probably cost about $2 million to make, if that. It's really cheap. So It is what it is when you have a shoestring budget. But that's why I give it some grace, because I think it's good for the amount of money that they have to make these films. I would say it's probably a $1 or $2 million film, if that. If that. But you can make some good movies. I mean, we talk about Obsession. That movie was $769,000 to make. And somehow it looked a lot, no, Obsession looked good. I say Obsession looked like it cost a lot more than $700,000 to make. I thought it was about a $5 million movie, but they made it for $700,000. But when you have Michael Jai White, and there's another actress in there that's prominent, it's going to be more expensive to make it. But it was, it was, it was awesomely bad. That's what it was. It was awesome and bad at the same time. But it was good. I enjoyed it. You have to look past all the flaws and just chalk it up to them not having any money. Okay, so it's on the Angel Network, and they have some movies I like. They have some wholesome movies like that are kind of fun to watch. Just fun to watch. Something you can watch on a Saturday when you're bored. Obsession was good. Let's see here. Oh, and of course, I got to talk about some anime. Okay, fellas, you're not going to like this, but I saw this. I don't know why. I was going through my streaming service and I saw this in the feed. And for some reason, I decided to look at it. It's Kaiju Girl Carmelise. And it's exactly what you think it is. It's a love story. It's a love story, but it was good, man. It was really good. It's about this girl. She's in high school and she can turn into a kaiju. And she has this thing where she is kind of attached to her emotions. And so sometimes she'll grow a big tail, or her feet will get big, or her arms will get big, or whatever. And so they try to kind of keep her calm, but she goes into puberty and she meets this guy, which triggers her kaiju reactions. And it's a funny romantic comedy about a girl in high school. And of course, he's the handsome guy that everyone wants. And she's kind of like the loner girl that everybody picks on and bullies, but he has eyes for her. And it's kind of like a romance story. And it's really good. I think was it cute? Does that make sense? I said, you watch anime with your daughters. This is perfect. This is the perfect film to watch with your daughters. It's really good. It's about a girl in high school who's dealing with being socially awkward, who has a crush on a boy. And of course, she turns into a monster. And it's actually funny. But I like these kind of stories. I like shows like Apothecary Diaries and stuff like that. It's because, you know what? It's one of the few places where you see soft women or soft female characters. She's the protagonist and she's a big, powerful monster, but she's very, very feminine, especially when it comes to him. Very, very feminine. Even though she's a big, powerful monster, she's very feminine and submissive to him. And that's what I kind of like about anime. They have a lot of strong female characters, but none of them are misandrist or feministic in their nature. They don't try to dominate and overrule. There are some like that, but for the most part, the women are still feminine. They stay in a woman's place. Even though they're strong or the strongest characters on the show, they are very submissive around men. When you watch shows like Attack on Titan, Mikasa is very, very strong, and it's clear Mikasa is the alpha dog. She is the strongest character on the show, but Mikasa submits to Eren. Let me see. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, let me see if I can get a photo of her. Let me see. Yeah. Let me see. For those, doggone it, do what I'm telling you to do. Hate that crap. Yeah, right here, Mikasa is that deal. Oh, stop. Yeah, Mikasa is the boss, is the truth. She's easily the strongest warrior on the show. Eren is the star. Mikasa is very stoic, very strong, but she submits to Eren. She submits to Eren. Powerful, but doesn't try to dominate or subdue Eren in any way. Doesn't try to embarrass him, doesn't try to undermine him. As a matter of fact, it's kind of to a fault because Eren does some evil shit and Mikasa still supports him. Very dutiful. Very dutiful. And that's kind of like the case here. This is a girl that can turn into a big, strong monster, but she still submits to her man. Now, Japan, and it kills me how Japan can figure that out. How they can make a strong feminine character, but here in the US, we can't seem to do that. Let's see here. What's going on, Alexander? Yeah, I thought The Secret of Attendance was a Tyler Perry movie. The acting was the acting. Yeah. But you know what? It's not, you know what? There is a message. I'm not gonna give away any spoilers. We'll talk about it next week. There is a very powerful message in there. It's nothing like a Tyler Perry movie. It actually praises men in the film. It praises men in the film. You gotta see it. I love the message in the film. Yeah, this is for the ladies. This is for the girls, fathers with daughters. That's what it's for. I like it, but this is not a man's anime. It's a girly. No, it's not bad. I like anime rom-coms. Let's see here. I haven't seen. I got to check it out. Seems like Monster Girl, Kimi, and Todoki. I'll check that out. Let me see. Monster Girl. Let's see here. Okay. It's another one like that. I've only seen about 6 episodes of it because that's all that's been translated or dubbed, so I haven't seen the rest of it. Yeah, nothing wrong with a good romance manga anime. No, it's not. What's going on, Broken Dusty? Here's the thing, though. Mikasa could kill Eren at any time. Anytime. Now, I take it. Well, here's the thing. Until he becomes the founding Titan, Mikasa's, Eren's life is in her hands. It will be easy for her to take him out. Easy. Okay? Those Ackermans, those Ackermans are actually Titans in human form. They have supernatural strength. Up until he becomes the founding Titan, I think Mikasa can own him at any time. Which movie are you talking about, Ziggy? Let's see here. It's Kimi no Todoki. Okay, yeah, Kimi no Todoki. Okay. I'm gonna look at it. I like stuff like that. There was another film. About a girl in a wheelchair. There's another one. Now we on Josie. Yeah, Josie the Tiger and the Fish. Let me see if I can bring it up. Josie. This movie right here, man. Let me see if I can bring it up. Josie. I love this film. I wrote about it in my entertainment media group. This is another one. This is a great film. I loved it. It's a romantic movie, but let's see here. This is good. This is really, really good. Again, fellas, if you're not into romances, it's Jose the Tiger and the Fish. Let me see if I can get it in English. I didn't know there was in some other language. There it is. Open image in new tab. This is good. This is really good. Again, this is romance. Fellas, you may not like it, but it's about a girl. She's a college student and she's in a wheelchair, and it's a romance. She falls in love with her caregiver. This guy right here. He's a college student as well, and he ends up taking care of her, and they fall in love. It's a really good film. Really good film. Jose the Tiger and the Fish. Yeah, your daughters would like it, Q. Does that make sense? They would love it. But yeah, I like this. I like this. I'm only 6 episodes in, and it's funny. You know. Train to Busan. I haven't seen that one. Let me see. Yeah. So I'm not talking about this. Oh, let me look here. What's this? Hold on. Let me go back to the comments here. Yes, please let. Another thing. Now we're going to talk on this topic. When I upload a video, please go by and leave a comment. Even if it's nothing, just say, "Hey, what's up?" Just leave a comment. That helps with the logarithm and help getting my video pushed out. But please, please, please do that. The one on Angel. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, it's terribly done, but it's a good story. It's actually a great message. Great message that I loved. Yeah. I watch a lot of Korean movies and shows. Yeah, Koreans have some really good rom-coms. Jose the Tiger and the Fish, yes. Did I do a review on it? Did I do a review on it? Did we talk? I think we talked about it. Did we talk about it last week? I forget. I thought we did talk about it last week. I didn't do an official review, no. I haven't seen that. I've heard things about the Train to Busan. I heard that was good. What's this? Supergirl Fallout hits executive suite. Warner Brothers becomes communications boss, exits. Insiders say it was no surprise. Warner Brothers is going through a transition of ownership. I think people are going to be fired regardless, especially after this crap. I haven't seen Supergirl. Someone offered it to me for free. Still didn't want to watch it. Let's see here. What's this? I thought this was interesting. Let's see here.
So a lot of the parody movies that they had, there are no characters for me to do. And then Black Panther came out, and it was a big cultural moment. And all that they had, there are no characters for me to do. And then Black Panther came out, and it was a big cultural moment. And all of the black men in the industry signed a public letter saying that they would never do a parody of Black Panther to protect the sanctity of it. And I was like, I totally feel you, but also. I would have been able to do that.
I think that's dope. So what she's saying is, when Black Panther came out, all of the black male actors said that they would not do a parody of it to protect the sanctity of the project. I think that's pretty dope. Because when you think of men or women in the pornography industry, they really are these sleaze, the scum of the earth. Okay? But here you are having some integrity where they're like, nah, we can do any other parody, but we're not gonna parody Black Panther. And I think that's pretty dope. Oh yeah, she's an adult star. That's yeah. That's what she was talking about. Yeah, I thought that was pretty dope. I'm going to go on a rant really quickly. Max Kellerman tells Rich Paul he believes that Jalen Brunson is a bigger star than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, and even Kevin Durant right now. Dude, shut up. Shut up. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Let's listen to this mope.
Like Brunson is a bigger star than Shea. Not close. Bigger star than Jokic. Not close. None of those, the only guys who are on the level, but he's a bigger star than KD. He's a bigger star than KD right now.
Today?
Yeah, today. We're talking today, not for his career, but I'm saying right now. Lakers get 34. The most you're allowed national televised games is 34. Lakers get it because they're the Lakers, right? By the way, Luka's high up. I think,
but he didn't get 34 games in Dallas,
right? I don't think Luka is.
Yeah,
I think Luka's like no question.
Yeah,
is a little half step below the guys that we just mentioned. Knicks get 34. Sixers get 34.
Knicks get 34 because they're champions, not because the market is asking for them.
Yeah.
Wemby gets 34.
Well,
now notice that Wemby gets 34 and they're not the champions.
Sixers jumped up dramatically. And Wemby, yeah.
Oklahoma City gets 30. That's a hell of a thing considering the market.
Small market, yes.
This is what I'm talking about right there. This small market conversation. I'm gonna get into that because that is a really stupid understanding of how media works.
The Nuggets get 28. Jokic is a big star.
Still Jokic, yeah.
But is there anyone else?
By the way, I thought the NBA did. I don't know if I've ever seen the NBA do a better job at first week scheduling, opening night scheduling, as they did this year.
You like it?
It's not even. I don't know if what's after a Grand Slam.
There's nothing.
Well, that's what the schedule is. You cannot.
Hit a Grand Slam and it went out of the stadium.
Out of the stadium. Remember one time Barry Bonds hit a home run and it went to someone's boat in the lake.
Yeah, the lake. Yeah.
That's what that was. Yeah. No, so but again, I think what you're saying is it's accurate. Yes, I think there is a fourth person and it is Brunson.
Right.
But I think it's
nope.
It's also you can't pin these things to one thing, and I think Hallie was being a little tough on himself. But no,
I think he's being honest. I think the league is being tough on him.
Well, you can't. But here's the thing: there's only so many games you can schedule.
No, he's in a small market.
There we go with that stupid small market talk. Now, see, this is what angers me. Max Kellerman, and I said, if anyone, let me see if I can zoom in. If anyone asks why Max Kellerman was fired, show them this clip. He knows nothing about basketball. He's your typical New Yorker stuck in the bubble. Nobody outside of NYC cares about Jalen Brunson. Now, I don't want to make this a sports argument, so to say, but this is why so many people in the media don't get it. They don't get it. They don't get it. They don't understand how this world works. They're out of touch. They're lost. They're clueless about how the world works today. Let me tell you something. In a post-social media age, markets don't matter. Markets don't matter. It doesn't matter what city you're in right now. No one gives a damn about markets, because when I was coming up, Zennial, Gen X, Boomer, whatever, you had to go to New York or LA to become a star. And you would hope that some producer or director would see you and they would promote your brand and make you who you are simply because you were in New York, which was a big city. Because it was back when broadcast networks ran the world in terms of marketing and television. Everybody was watching TV, and the biggest networks were in New York or in LA. LA, you could be a movie star. New York, you could be a TV star, comedian, whatever. Those two big markets controlled what people had because we had a monoculture and everybody was listening to the radio or watching TV. And so it mattered back then. In the past, being in a big market mattered. But now that we live in this social media world, this internet world, this post-social media world, markets don't matter. And markets stopped being a matter 10 years ago. Okay? Let me show you something. Okay? Let me explain what I mean. I'm not going to show you something. I'm just going to keep going. Let me go back. The biggest news personality or television host in the world is Joe Rogan. He's in Austin, Texas. The biggest streamer, the biggest media personality after him is Asmongold. They're in Texas. And they're not in New York, and they're not on any network. But they're bigger than any journalist in New York and LA. Joe Rogan today is bigger than any media personality that has ever existed in the history of media. David Letterman, Johnny Carson, they don't get 100 million views like Joe Rogan can get in an interview. Nowhere near. Okay? Some of these personalities you see on the internet, they get billions of views a year. Billions. And they're not in New York. They're not in LA.
Like Brunson.
Because you don't have to be in a big market for anything anymore. The market is now social media. You know, it's being on YouTube. It's being on X and Kick. That's where the market is. And when you're on social media, nobody gives a frick about where you live. It never, ever, 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 ever matters. And the fact that this dope thinks this way shows how out of touch he is. You know, nobody, let me tell you something. I don't want to be rude, but I live in Detroit, Michigan, and I got news flash for New Yorkers. We don't think about your fucking city any day. And I don't mean that to be a hater, but how many times have you met somebody from New York and they tell you, yeah, on once, bro, don't be telling me about streets. Matter of fact, get away from me. I don't care. Don't care. But they really think we think about them all the time. All the time. No, we don't. Thank you, Malika. Great point. Terrestrial entertainment is the Stone Age. Exactly. I was having a discussion with a guy. He was talking about some, what was it? Myles Garrett. We were talking about how much taxes he's going to pay in Los Angeles versus Cleveland. And he said, well, yeah, he's going to make more money because he's in a bigger market. I said, you moron. Nobody cares about a market anymore. It's about social media. And he said, yeah, but his name will be on billboards. Billboards? We're talking about TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and you're talking about billboards. Are you retarded? Yeah. Are you an idiot? I don't want to say that word. But they really think that markets matter. No, they don't. Well, no one cares. Doggone. LeBron James became the most popular player in the NBA in Cleveland. The face of the NFL, the most popular player in the National Football League, is Pat Mahomes. He's in Kansas City. Okay? When Aaron Rodgers was one of the most popular players in the league, he was in Green Bay. Okay? So how did those three, Mahomes, Rodgers, and LeBron James, get so big outside of New York or LA? Because markets don't matter in a post-internet world anymore. They don't. Nobody cares about what market you're in. It don't matter. People log into social media every way. What was it? And I said this before. 85% of Americans get their news and information and entertainment from social media. From social media. Not by reading the New York Times, from social media. We come to X. We come to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, the rest of them. That's where we go. We don't watch TV. We don't care if some broadcast station is in New York. We don't care. But getting back to Jalen Brunson being a star, here's the thing. You know how I know Jalen Brunson isn't a star? Because we're debating it. We're debating it. Okay? Nobody debated whether or not Shaquille O'Neal, who was in Orlando at the time, was a star. Nobody debated whether or not Charles Barkley was a star. Nobody debated when Kevin Durant became a star in Oklahoma City. Okay? If there are questions as to whether or not somebody's a star, it means they're not a star. Because in order to be a star, you have to have consensus opinion. That means everybody has to agree that you are that person. But the fact that you have such a large contention that says that you're not means that you're not. Exactly. You can be a superstar in any city. If you have a superstar in a city, it becomes a large market. Thank you. Thank you. Exactly. Tim Duncan was a star in San Antonio. How'd that happen? How'd that happen? Kevin Garnett became a star in Minneapolis. Dirk Nowitzki became a star, and it wasn't New York. Okay? Zion Williamson and John Morant would have been stars, but they do some crazy stuff. But before all that negative stuff happened, they became stars in Memphis and New Orleans. Come on now. Stop with the goofy talk. It's not the 1980s anymore, where you have to be in a certain city to make it. No, you don't. Let me see something. Let me show you something else. You know who the wealthiest entertainer is in the world right now? The wealthiest entertainer in the world. Who knows who it is? Or personality? Anyone guess? Anyone know? It's pretty obvious. Mr. Beast. The biggest personality in the world. He's in North Carolina. You take all the media personalities in New York, multiply it by 3, and it still comes behind Mr. Beast. He's on pace, if he's not already, he's on pace to become the first social media billionaire. Nobody in New York has ever been on his level. Not today and not yesterday, not even decades in the past. And he's in North Carolina. Greenville, North Carolina. That ain't even a major city in North Carolina. And he's exponentially larger than any personality in New York by a wide margin. And they're talking about, you got to be in a major market. Then how did he become a billionaire? How'd that happen? I can't stand these old lazy brains. Old lazy brains. And that's why I say, Max Kellerman, he says a lot of dumb shit. He probably thought he was wronged when he was fired. No, he wasn't. Buddy, you're just stupid. You're really dumb. You know, he was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, so he has no concept of what is outside of him, outside of where he lives. He's caught up in a bubble, and he doesn't know anything. You know, just his culture, closed off from the world. He doesn't know that 95% of the world isn't paying attention to what he knows. Stupid commentary. Stupid commentary. Let's see. That's the music playing. Okay, let's get this done. Matt Smith is going. Well, let me show y'all something really quickly, because I'm running out of time, and I'm gonna stop right here. I'm gonna show y'all something. I showed y'all this last week. My library. You got to get Plex Media Server, because I just saw an article recently about people noticing their physical media is breaking down. This is where it is, people. You got to get yourself a Plex library. You take your movies. They still sell digital. I think they still sell digital copies. But you get a digital copy and you put it on your computer, and you can put all your movies on here. This is Plex Media Server, and it allows me to stream all of my films and TV shows to my tablet, to my phone, to my Roku devices, and it's pretty good. Now, I can't click on these because these will play and I'll get a copyright, but these play movies. I just can't right now because these are all copyright protected. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, this is how you do it. This is how it looks. Now, some of them, it's not completely perfect because some of these thumbnails are not correct. It might come up with a weird movie as a thumbnail, or even pornography. Let me see. All these thumbnails are correct. Let me see if I can find one that's wrong. Yeah, all these thumbnails are right so far. But trust me, bro. But trust me, they get some of these thumbnails they get wrong. Okay, I think I can play the learning tree. Let's see if I can do that. And you go here, you push play. Let's see if it's gonna play. Yeah, let's see the Criterion Collection. Yeah. But there it is. It plays your movie, you know. But yeah, this is my movie collection. As you can see, I got some things in here: Magazine Dreams and Mr. Society, a lot of stuff in here. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's a thumbnail. I think I may have fixed them all. I'm trying to see if there's a thumbnail I got that's wrong in here. Unfortunately, all these thumbnails are correct. Okay. But trust me, it does get thumbnails wrong. Oh, House of the Dragon. Yeah, I have let's see. Sometimes it does. I don't have too many shows like I used to. Okay, so all these thumbnails are right. Oh well. But it will get thumbnails wrong occasionally, but this is how you do it. You don't have to worry about getting physical media and all that kind of stuff. Just get a media server. Let's see here. Mr. Beast has his own lane, and brand of today's constantly changed technology. Exactly. Technology-driven world. Exactly. So you don't need to, it doesn't matter where you are. That's the beauty of the internet. It doesn't matter where you are. But yeah. So, that's this week's show. I'll be back again next week, and we'll talk about anything you want to talk about, including entertainment media. Look out for my video coming up on Lindsay Clancy. We got to talk about all these crazy chicks that are out here supporting her. I mean, $900,000 in a GoFundMe. It's crazy. I'm gonna try to record it today and try to get it out by Monday. Maybe not, because right now my voice is tired. Been talking for 2 hours. But yeah, these crazy women out here, you know, I gotta talk about it, man. We gonna talk about it. But yeah, so again, thank you for coming by. And if you see me, like I said, if you see me post a video on YouTube, just go and say hello. Just go say hello, say something, give it a thumbs up, say hi. That helps with the logarithm. But you can catch me streaming on all these fine platforms every week, 7 a.m., where we'll talk about entertainment, media, or anything that you guys want to talk about. But I like talking about movies and TV shows, and we can do this every week. Yeah. And so, of course, check me out on Patreon, support me there. I could use your help. And that concludes this week's show. So have a blessed weekend, have a cookie today, and this is the Layman's Journal, and I am out.